All right, how's it going? Marco back here with the final part three of this Tesla Q1 earnings jam session, summary, thoughts, stream of consciousness, what have you. All right, so in the last part, I covered some more basic stuff as well as some crypto questions about the Bitcoin and some about the FSD and the recent media news focusing on this car crash. And I don't know, it kind of seems to me like there's been a focus on yeah, it's a kind of a focus on negative news has been popping up. Even in China, there was some negative news. There's a lot of speculation that that they have support from the central government, but maybe there's local Chinese governments that are closely in tie with other car manufacturers, so they're incentivized to hire protesters or otherwise aid in spreading bad news about Tesla, or do they have enough of their intellectual property now and they just want to steal it and try to crush Tesla? I don't think that's going to happen. I think China has a long term plan for Tesla. They have a long term plan for, like others have said, for business investment inside China, and they want to give businesses the confidence, foreign businesses, to that they'll be okay investing in China, so that they're willing to do it and it helps their economy, and they want to come out ahead and beat the U.S. and hopefully the U.S. isn't just a bunch of Republicans and Democrats can't get together and there's too much big money and corporations corrupting and influencing things, and they're not able to decide to do what they need to do for the greater good of all the citizens and focus on that instead of just being greedy and funneling money to the super wealthy, and so they can have big piles of cash that they never use. So, yeah, it's kind of what I was talking about. Yeah, so yeah, short term, it's hurt the stock price a bit, and along with this Q1, the way the numbers came out, it's impressive to me, impressive to I think a lot of smart people in the know, but good buying opportunity for long-term investors is all I got to say about it. You know, load up on sell shares, buy options. I don't know. So the next question on the earnings call was it was an institutional question. This is the first institutional question. This is usually where things take a downward turn when it starts with the retail investor questions. Those are pretty smart usually. And then the people with the real money, with the big money, the institutional money, they have way more shares they control. The quality of the questions tends to go down. It's weird. Like, they have more money, but their questions suck and they're dumb. I guess money isn't tied to intelligence necessarily. So let me go over this question. It's kind of funny though. This question got Elon laughing when it was asked. This guy, I wish I had the exact question, but he basically he asked about, like, is lithium ion cells are they? And you can look up this question exactly because I'm not set up for it. But are lithium ion cells gonna work for stationary storage? Because like, it's a known thing about vampire drain. We all know about vampire drain, right? So since they have this vampire drain, that's a huge problem. So how are you going to deal with this vampire drain problem with storage batteries? Storing power for the grid, for the solar and the wind. They're just the batteries. Yeah, vampire drain. They'll just keep losing power. Just keep losing it. And so Elon started laughing when he heard that, and was JB Straubel, the chief technical officer, right? CTO, chief technology officer. He came on. Oh, that was the last guy, right? Yeah, he's gone. He's at Redwood. I forget what the new guy's name is. But he came on. He basically said like the properly designed lithium ion battery like loses 0.000 like 1% of energy. I don't even know if it was per month, per day, per month. This is like it's so small, it's negligible. And Elon said vampire drain from batteries is about as mythical, as a big a myth as vampires themselves. So that's what they got out of that. Lovely. This guy could have done a little bit of homework and known that wasn't a thing before this, but apparently that's what they did. So, and then, but they got him talking more about batteries, which was cool. So at least it did spark some gears turning, and they talked about their 4680 cells a bit more. Let's see some of the things. So kind of the gist of what I got out of it. This is long. I hope this doesn't go longer than the actual earnings call. That's like a summary shouldn't be longer. But I am kind of free flowing and giving additional thoughts on stuff. So I'm not gonna put a timer on myself. If you want, you could watch it faster. You could skip. Do whatever you want. If you like it, watch. What I got out of it is that in Giga Berlin and Austin, those are the factories being built right now, that it's going to be kind of very little production as far as batteries from them, and cars. Next year is really the story where they're really not going to be up and running in any big way until next year. They went into nuclear power a little bit. Elon was saying that if you look at like the usable area of a nuclear power plant, because you have to have a big area around it roped off, people can't just walk up to a nuclear power plant, and and radiation and all these things. You could if you filled all that area with solar panels, you would get more energy. So it's basically a pro for solar power versus nuclear power, just in land use. There's a lot of other reasons to like solar, as long as it has batteries along with it. And then this had come up before, but basically reiterated that like 100 by 100 miles square of solar panels in some place like Nevada could provide enough energy to power the entire United States electricity grid. With current technology, basically nothing new would need to be invented, just direct current wires, just like copper wires running, nothing crazy. Elon also reiterated that a really great way to move things forward, let the market work correctly, fight climate change, renewable energy, speed it up, would be a carbon tax to correctly price the cost of releasing trash, basically carbon emissions into our atmosphere, and just letting the trash pile up and no one's cleaning it up. And and what happens? Pretty soon, if trash piles up inside your place and no one picks it up, you can't move around anymore. Smells terrible, unhealthy. Not exactly like with climate change, but kind of there's some similarities. So, and he would want it to be done so it doesn't hurt the poorest people. They get some kind of refund on their taxes or something for this carbon tax, and that way it would be manageable, and then the market would work correctly, and people would realize, businesses would realize how expensive it really is to use energy that's carbon intensive, and they just naturally choose would be the much cheaper option, renewable power. Solar and wind would be much cheaper even with batteries. Like already on its own, it's cheaper, but That would make a huge difference because, if things get bad, it's going to cost a lot more money in the long term. It's always better to fix it before it gets bad than dealing with it once it's a full-blown problem. And getting carbon dioxide out of the air, no one knows how that could be done. Elon is doing like a prize thing to fund people to hopefully figure it out. Hopefully there's some way to do it that doesn't bankrupt the global economy if things get really bad. But let's not put it in there in the first place is the best thing. They went over how, they call lithium-ion batteries, but lithium is like a really small part of it, and lithium is not really rare. So, like a lot of their vehicles right now, and their really high-performance vehicles are really like nickel. You should call them like nickel batteries. And they also have iron batteries. I believe those are being used in China. Cool thing about iron batteries is the chemistry is such so that they aren't hurt as much by discharging from 100 to 0. It usually isn't good for lithium-ion based batteries, but the iron phosphate lithium batteries, I think is kind of the name, is those aren't as affected by that. But they are heavier. They're heavier for the given amount of power they provide, so not great for a weight-sensitive situation like a vehicle, because the more weight you add, the more energy you have to use to move it. So when you have a heavier battery, it needs to have more power just to move itself, and then you make it bigger, that adds more weight, and it's not great. But if you're going to have a battery that just sits next to a solar panel or sits on the ground somewhere, as inside your house, then that could be heavy as hell, and it doesn't really bother anyone. It's great, yeah. Make it heavy, doesn't matter. That's the cheapest type of battery, and it would also seems like it's going to last the longest. So that's why iron batteries are great for stationary storage, and the materials that make them up are no problem to get. They're plentiful, very doable, very doable. Elon reiterated that it's easy, trivial to make a prototype. Production is the hard part. That's why car companies, they've all failed for like 50 years. New car company has made it to come out. They all go out of business because mass production of vehicles is really that difficult. Elon said him and several other people had to have several brain aneurysms to get the company off the ground and make it live and get to this point now where it's profitable and self-sustaining, and they're still growing like crazy and well into the future. So this kind of makes me think of like something like a Lucid Motors. CCIV is a SPAC that's going to turn into Lucid Motors, and how people are really hopeful about them, yet they haven't done any mass production yet. So who knows what's going to happen with them. I think there's some lawsuits out against them now. I actually bought a little CCIV stock on a YouTuber recommendation, and I regretted it, lost some money on it, but I wanted to drop it because I'd never really had confidence in the company, not like Tesla, and I'd rather just take the loss, and thinking it could still go down. I don't even look at it anymore. It might have gone back up a little bit. I don't even care. All right, so Elon was talking about how anything can slow down or stop production, any part of the production process. The slowest part determines the speed of the entire thing, because it's all connected. So you got one thing you're missing, you got to shut it all down. Just like these chip shortages with all these other companies, automakers, there's not enough silicon, not enough chips. That's why we don't have enough GPUs. And Ford is saying they're gonna have to shut down factories this year. It's like an ongoing thing. It might not be until the end of the year that stuff really gets better. Tesla's been able to pivot better because they're so good at software and hardware that they wrote new firmware to use these new to use microcontrollers, he mentioned, and they were able to get new chips from a different supplier, and they were able to make that work, where other people like, say, a Ford or a GM don't really have that ability to pivot so quick and write new software and firmware to make it work with like a new chip. So this could be a big reason why they have to just shut down their production, because they can't get the chips that they're used to, and they aren't able to quickly make their vehicles work with something new. Once again, because production is so hard. Elon brought up a story about how they once ran out of USB cables and it was slowing down car production, so they sent out people to just buy all the USB cables they could in the San Francisco Bay Area. And he's like, if you noticed during these days this week that like everyone was out of USB cables, he was like, sorry, that was us. Crazy to hear that's something that happened. That's I mean, you do what you got to do. Yeah, supply chain issues that can really mess you up. That sucks. So they're using USB cables. I hope those things are like still reliable. And I guess a USB cable is pretty much a USB cable, as long as they get good ones. Hope they ended up all right in the cars long term. So another note of mine here. Drew. Oh, what's his name? Drew Baglino. That's the new CTO's name. He's great. It was great to hear Drew say that the yield on the 4680 cells is still improving. Back on battery day, I remember hearing that one of their major challenges was that the yield wasn't where they wanted it yet, and a lot of 4680 cells, more than they wanted, would come out bad, and then they have to like recycle those, couldn't use them, and you want almost all the cells that you produce to test well and be usable, otherwise you're wasting a lot of money, even if the cells are cheaper to produce. Although we also there's some feelings I got that maybe even because of the larger size, the main issue with these bigger cells is that they heat up more, and the heat is a problem, and that's why they did this tabless electrode thing. It's not really tablet, it doesn't have a single tab, but instead like the whole top layer of this foil that gets wound up is a bunch of tabs, and they all kind of touch this plate on the top, and that's supposed to able to be a more efficient way of funneling the heat out, so that way these cells battery cells don't overheat. And I don't know, maybe they got to do a little extra work on the cooling. Maybe these are still a little hotter than they think. Maybe the yield and this dry electrode process, which is huge, that's all in battery day, that they're saving a bunch of money, they're saving a lot of equipment, a lot of time on not doing this wet process, and they're able to do it dry and not have these huge ovens and all these chemicals and all this other bad stuff. So Drew is saying that they think he sees like kind of a steady path of improvement still on the yield and all that. Elon said that the volume production of the cells is on track for next year. Then he said probably not more than 18 months away, which is a little scary. Like, it's a little extra cautious, very cautious, not super optimistic there. That would be 18 months away, so it would be so the end of April next year would be 12 plus another 6 months, so that would be like almost like November of 2022. Volume production of 4680 cells. That's kind of crazy because they need these 4680 cells. That is a question mark. I hope we get more. Maybe I'll start pestering Elon on Twitter, like he's gonna answer my random Twitter question. No one knows who I am yet, but I mean, people want to know. I want to know. Are these 4680 cells going to be going right away into the new Model Ys coming out of Austin and Berlin, because I thought that was the plan, that they're going to be the 4680 cells. They're going to have the structural battery pack. They're going to have the front and rear mega castings. So it's going to be lighter. It's going to be cheaper, more efficient. Like these are going to be like the new souped up Model Ys. They're going to be amazing. They're going to handle better because the center of gravity is going to be tighter with these new cells and the structural battery pack. So the center of gravity is going to be more in the middle, and so the handling is going to be even better, more agile. Less build issues because it's all this casting. Like perfect spacing between the panels and stuff. No more gaps. So if they don't have, they're supposed to be cranking out Model Ys 8 months from now. How are they going to have how are they going to be putting a bunch of 4680 cells in them? Are they going to be? They gave the blueprint to like Panasonic and or like a Cattle or SK. I don't know who else they're working with, another one. But are they going to be able to do that? Are they going to do like some version of it that's not as good? Or are they going to just do 2170 cells that they already got working and they know that they work well? Are they going to be able to make that work with the structural battery pack? Are they not going to use a structural battery pack at the beginning now? So those are some questions that hopefully we get some more information on soon, because that would imply that there might be a wrench in that plan, and I really hope that it isn't a problem. So then on the more bullish side, then Drew says we're on track to more than double the supplier cell buys over the next 18 months. I think they're on track this year for like 900,000 to 1 million car sales deliveries. So over the next 18 months, that would be like doubling it from suppliers, would be like another 100% year growth, kind of crazy year of growth of deliveries of vehicles, would bring it to 2 million for the end of 2022 then. Plus they're building some cells of their own at that point, you would hope. So that could be a crazy amount of batteries that they have, a crazy amount of vehicles they can make, expanding hopefully the energy side of the business as well. There's also then a question afterwards about like the question was kind of like implying like they got the 25K car in the bag, and Elon was kind of like, he just shot it down and he was like, now is not the right place to talk about new products, so we're not going to do that here. And it's too bad, because there was some part of it that was about like reducing costs in the process, and I think the batteries, and could you go more into how you guys are seeing the new technologies you've talked about lowering costs, and it was just kind of shot down with like, we're not announcing like new products. It's hard to know how to interpret this. Is it that they want to just keep this under wraps and they are making great progress and they're able to bring the cost down a lot? Or is this maybe they're a little frustrated that this stuff is taking a little longer than they think, and they don't want to jump the gun on this type of stuff? Hard to say for sure right now. But I think the overall feeling I get in the long run is that this is all... maybe it'll be some delays here, but that they're still on. They don't see any major difficulties to figuring this stuff out. Elon kind of reiterates the difficulty of getting FSD to run on the car's computer, and I mentioned this back in part 1. I think that this was like a hint to me that Elon's already kind of itching for a better computer in the cars, have that new generation of chips that they're going to move to eventually. See, but they don't want to have that required for full self-driving because they already got all these chips out there right now. So if they then say, hey, we need a better computer to make it work, then they're gonna have to have all those replaced, and it'll probably be a cost to them. So they're trying to make it work with the computer they got now, I know, but seems to me like Elon's already itching to get to the better computer, and even if they're able to make it work really well with the current computer, there's no way that it doesn't work much better with the better computer. So, maybe they'll try to keep that under the hood a little bit in the back scenes, like, people won't notice as much. Hopefully, maybe they're thinking, it's hard to say, but I just know the core of the technology is that better computers will just make a much better neural network, and that's what the FSD is all about, the neural network, and so it'll work much better. But, and yeah, I finally got to the end of my notes, so whew, that was a lot, so I'm going to take a break now. If you made it all the way to the end of part 3 and you've seen all the other parts, you're freaking awesome. Congratulations. You are really into Tesla. And in that case, you are in good company. And expect more from me in the future. So please subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment below. Maybe what you'd like to see me talk about next. Consider helping out the channel. Maybe if I got an affiliate link to Robinhood or to Webull, or check out my Patreon. And this is Marco for Consumer Warrior signing out. Be healthy, and I hope you have a good one. Bye, everyone. See ya. Bye.